Okay, so this talk is called Leveraging Mobile Devices on Pentests. And I'm Georgia, and I run a little company called Bulb Security. And so, who here has a mobile device? Everybody, right? I hope that made it into the video. Anyway, so who here, when they go to work, puts their mobile device on the network in some way? Nobody? Wow, you guys have really great bring your own device policies. What about getting your email on your mobile device? You do that, right?
Yeah.
You people there, all right. Well, maybe this talk is not for you. Maybe we shouldn't have it at all because you guys don't put mobile devices on the network. But lots of people do. So a lot of times I see something really stupid like this. We just put our mobile device straight on the same network as everything else internally on like desktops and laptops. They're just attached through some sort of wireless access point attaching into the network. So we're all just really sitting on the same network. So naturally, as a pen tester, I think, well, if I can exploit this guy here, get him to walk onto the network, then I can start attacking these guys. Because, well, we're all on the same network, so that's what we do. A better way to do this, of course, would be to have some sort of firewall or otherwise VLAN segmenting between nasty mobile devices, also our printers, all of our things that are nasty, and our servers and workstations and whatnot. So if I try and attack them, it gets stuck, and that would be better. But unfortunately, I've never run into a scenario where I see anything like this. It always just looks like this, which is awful. But apparently you guys don't put your phones on the network. I do. Thing is, bring your own device isn't exactly new. It's like the big buzzword right now, though apparently bring your own device is not actually a threat to your network, is what Twitter told me this morning. So who believes that? Bring your own device is not a threat. Alright, so apparently Twitter is wrong, as if such a thing has ever happened. So we have contractor laptops. We've been bringing in our laptops to people's organizations, so who knows what the security posture of that thing is. CEO wants wireless. We don't allow wireless in our organization, but the CEO wants wireless. Security people say, no, you can't have wireless. Security people get fired. But, okay, so say the CEO doesn't fire the security people. CEO goes down to Best Buy, says, how do I make wireless? Give them a nice little wireless router. Say, plug this into the network and you'll have wireless. And then it maybe has WEP, maybe it's open, maybe they use WPA with a crappy password. But that's still a bring your own device scenario because we don't control or possibly even know about that device, so we don't know whether it's secure. And then my personal favorite, gaming consoles in the break room. Who has a gaming console in their break room? Yeah, seeing some hands there. Awesome way to spend your time. Who knows what the security posture of the PlayStation is? Has anybody ever hacked a PlayStation or an Xbox before?
By accident once.
By accident? What did you do to it?
I was playing around with my phone trying to figure out how to send images, trying to remember the exact protocol name, and I was like, okay, I accidentally sent to my buddy upstairs who was playing video games. Now, granted, in this case it was just a receipt for a hotel, but I could think of far worse images to send to someone's Xbox if I chose to.
Yes, probably. Your robots.txt file, for instance.
Something like that.
Alright, so bring your own device is not new. This is something that corporations have just been ignoring for ages, so we're not really bringing in anything particularly new here. Except for the one little problem with mobile devices, that mobile modem that they have. We really don't like network traffic that we can't monitor. We like to watch everything going in and out of our network, right? That's awesome. We want to spy on people. However, any data that comes in through the corporate network, it could possibly be going out via the mobile modem. The only people who can monitor what's going out via the mobile modem are the carriers themselves. You may have seen some talks previously about where you can actually become the cell tower in some cases. Chris Padgett did a pretty good talk on it, where he dropped dropped everybody down to, God, let's kill the talk. I'm gonna get banned from life for saying that. I can never say anything right in my talks, and Adrian always puts them online so everybody can laugh at me. But anyway.
It causes pronoun issues, what can I say?
Kristen Padgett, she did a great talk a couple of years ago at DEF CON, where she became the 2G cell tower, and you might say, well, my phone uses 3G or 4G, so this doesn't apply to me. but all of your smartphone, mobile device things will drop down to 2G, Edge, GSM, whatever you want to call it, if they can't get 3G or 4G. And you can just buy a jammer for like 20 bucks and jam everybody down to 2G. So you could actually say that this could be even worse than just being the carrier. This could actually be someone stealing your data right here at this point. So you not only have to worry about the carriers, you have to worry about anybody who wants to spend about $1,000 to build the hardware and then sit outside your organization. So everything is suspect in terms of traffic here because we really can't monitor what's going out via SMS or phone calls or otherwise using that mobile modem. So I started to wonder, all right, mobile devices in the network. What do we do when devices walk into our network? How do we tell whether they're secure or not? Well, we run Nessus against them, of course. That's what we do, right? Who runs Nessus against all the devices in their environment? Nobody? Okay, what do you do? What do you do to tell whether things are secure? Nothing? You just assume they are? You guys don't regularly check for vulnerabilities in your environments?
What if we don't want to tell you what particular vulnerability scanner we use at our company because what if we might get in trouble for telling you?
Okay, Nessus or equivalent.
Yeah.
You run some sort of vulnerability scanning against your network periodically to see what sort of vulnerabilities have come up. That's traditional how we check these things. Alright, so I ran Nessus against my iPhone just to see, and it came up with some informational things. So this is the iPhone in question here. It's has some problems. For one, it's jailbroken. I turned on SSH on it, and I left the default password as Alpine. So if you can get on my access point, you can break into this guy right now, if you like. The best thing I've ever seen done with it, sometimes people just wipe it, but when I went to Black Hat last year, it seemed normal, but then I just kept getting all these text messages about Justin Bieber. So if you're interested in Justin Bieber, I unfortunately know way more than I should about said young man who apparently sings. But anyway, so it has the default password, so breaking into it is not particularly hard. That's definitely something that should be fixed. And it's not subject to any Indian restrictions. Additionally, it's out of date. It's like iOS 4.3 for hacking purposes. So this is a really insecure iPhone. But according to Nessus, it's not insecure at all. It's awesome. It passed. So take that as you will. So obviously what we're doing is not working. So my smartphone walks into the workplace and accesses some sort of data, hence the little picture here. So it's either downloading email or getting on the network and actually even talking to servers. I mean, some people even like log into devices via smartphone, somehow storing something. So anything that ends up on this device either communicates through this device or is stored on the device could potentially be going out over this nasty guy here. So if we hook up to the mobile modem as well all the time, unless you turn it off, it's at least trying to get on the mobile modem. So we could be sending that anywhere in the world, including to little person with cell tower outside organization. Yay. Not yay, actually. Alright, so some of the threats against smartphones. Big one is the apps. Everybody loves the apps. Everybody likes to rag on the apps right now. They're the horrible, horrible thing going on. So, do malicious apps happen? Yes or no?
Yes.
Do they cause a threat to your environment?
Yes.
Wow, you guys are so much smarter than Twitter. I've never seen such a thing. Well, yes, malicious apps can happen. They can steal your data. They can remotely control the device even. We know all this. So you're able to download any application you want probably. We can put MDM restrictions in place that say you can't download anything, no applications whatsoever on your device ever. No Angry Birds, no Twitter, no Facebook. You know what's going to happen then? All the people in the organization are going to show up outside of your office and they're going to murder you with pitchforks.
Yay, workplace violence.
Yes, workspace violence. Well, so we could instead say only apps that we approve are allowed to be on your devices. So we'll go through and we'll approve every app that you request, or we will fail to approve it for some reason. So how can we tell whether an app is good or bad? Is that an easy thing to do? If I just look at an application and even just look at the permission model that it has, can I tell whether it's good or bad? So say an application, it has the ability to read your GPS location and it has network communication, and it periodically takes your GPS location and sends it out to some server on the internet. Does that sound like a safe application?
Sure. Most do.
What if it's Foursquare? That's exactly what it's supposed to do. So it's very difficult to programmatically say whether an application is safe or not. You can do some reverse engineering on the application, get the DEX code back out of it in Android's case, and if we have lots of skill set and time, be able to tell exactly what that application is doing. But even if we have that skill set, well, that takes time. And users want their Angry Birds now, damn it. So, apps are going to continue to be a threat. So will your employees download malicious apps? Will they do vigilance about downloading applications?
No.
Well, here's the thing. This isn't true anymore, but let's see. At one point, Facebook required the ability to send text messages. So my choice was use Facebook on my phone and potentially allow it to run up my phone bill if it wants to, or, not have Facebook. I like Facebook. I downloaded it, even knowing what I know. Twitter used to have the ability to make phone calls. Again, run up my phone bill, do all sorts of nasty in the background, be botnet command and control for all I know. But do I want Twitter? Absolutely. I would die if I didn't have Twitter. So this one has Twitter, this one has Twitter, this one has Twitter, this one has Twitter too. So, if I can't do a good job, nobody can expect that anybody else is going to, because I probably think about this more than most people, but, functionality above security. That's just the state of things. Software bugs. Who here has ever written any software? Who here has ever written any software that was completely free of bugs? Not me either. Yes, I'm well known for writing buggy software. Writing software that's completely free of bugs is, as far as I know, probably impossible. It's at least really, really hard. If it has any interesting functionality, it probably has some sort of bug in it. Probably an exploitable bug. Maybe not exploitable very easily, but exploitable when the top minds are working on it, which a lot of times the top minds are working on these mobile device bugs. You see the jailbreaks for iPhone. Apple really throws down the gauntlet. They say, no one will ever jailbreak iOS 6. You wait a couple days and then this team of very elite hackers show up and say, yeah, I jailbroke it. Whatever, this wasn't that hard. It only took like 9 exploits. So this was hard, this took some time, this took some skill, but it was doable. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's hard. It really just depends. But chances are, there are bugs. We have to assume that the bugs are there. But this isn't anything new. What about my Apple computer here? They don't have bugs, right? What about the browser that uses Java? There's never been any bugs in Java, right? So we're, again, not really looking at anything particularly new. We just have to keep it in perspective. Actually, oddly enough, when a Java O-Day is out there, the only secure way, short of just taking out Java, but we have to do our WebEx and GoToMeetings and things that require Java, so we can't disable Java. We won't be able to work anymore. The only really secure way I can think of to browse the internet is actually on a mobile device, because they use WebKit and not Java. They don't use the Java VM, so you're actually safe. So that's the one case that mobile devices are super secure. But our browsers on our mobile devices have been known to have bugs. WebKit, our Java wannabe, it has bugs all the time. The apps have bugs. Even the apps that are written by people like Facebook and Twitter, I'm sure they've had bugs before. And anybody can write an app. I can write an app. Do my apps have bugs? Oh, absolutely. They have bugs by design. I like bugs. So you don't have to go to secure coding school to write an app. You just have to pay $25 or $95 or $99, and then, you're an app developer. And even if you did go to secure coding school and you can write some Java that's secure as hell, what about a broadcast receiver? Have you ever used a broadcast receiver in traditional Java before? So even if we know how to securely code, it's a whole new ballgame with the mobile devices. So chances are your apps are going to have bugs. So even if they're not doing anything malicious on purpose, they might be doing something malicious by accident. Our kernels, of course, have bugs. Sometimes they actually have the same bugs that you see in other platforms. I thought it was really interesting when a bug came out, or an exploit came out for a bug in the Linux kernel And then, you know, a little while later, someone realized, hey, the same bug is in Android. Well, Android's a forked Linux kernel. That doesn't particularly surprise me. So sometimes it's just as easy as porting it over to a different platform. So, will your users download malicious apps? We already said yes. Will they download apps that might have a bug in it? Absolutely. Will they go to web pages on their mobile devices? Who here browses the internet from time to time on their mobile device? Everybody, yeah. So, could an exploit potentially gain access to your device in this way? Well, absolutely, just like it does your PC. And then, it gets kind of interesting. Well, what if there is a bug and it's not patched on our mobile device? So the latest version of iOS came out, but I like my jailbreak. So I'm not going to update until a jailbreak comes out for my device. So I'm going to stay on the vulnerable version. Well, how about my Android device here? Let's see what version this guy has. I bought this. No, this was a funny story, right? So I dropped my Android in a hot tub and left it there for like an hour, so it was dead. And S3 hadn't come out yet, so I didn't want to upgrade and get a new phone, so I just go to the Best Buy and I'm like, you have an Android I could use in my demos until the S3 comes out? And they're like, sure, here's a secure Android device. It says straight on the box, secure Android device. I was so excited. I'd never seen a secure Android device before. So I was going to buy like 10 of them. Oh my god. So I buy the thing and I take it home and I open up settings and it says, you know, you can update. Device is up to date. So let's see what version of Android we have here. 2.3.6. Secure Android device. Yeah. Well, my S3 is currently on like ice cream sandwich still. It still hasn't pushed me out jelly beans, so I just can't win. So I don't know what to tell you. How can I make my users update the devices to the newest version if it's not being pushed out to them? This thing isn't even a year old. I can't tell my users, you have to go buy the S4 because your S3 that's 6 months old can't get the latest updates, and therefore it's not secure, and therefore it can't be in our environment. Again, pitchforks. We lose. Social engineering. So I used to think that social engineering was a myth, and people were making this up so they could get into conferences and talk about nothing. I really did. Because, you know, who would click on a link in an email? I mean, really, who would do that?
The older people who don't know any better and refuse to listen to the smart people.
Well, here's the thing. Then I started doing social engineering campaigns, and I wasn't particularly good at it either. People were like, can you do social engineering? I'm like, sure, I can do social engineering. So, you know, I pull up Social Engineer Toolkit, I clone their website, I make a Gmail address, it's like companyhr@gmail.com, and comes up as somebody's name, and, you know, I make a little email that says, we've created a nice company portal. Please log in for a chance to win a $5 gift card to Best Buy or something. Because I tried to do a $100 gift card, but apparently all the companies think that, you know, their companies are way too cheap for that, so no one would believe it. But if it's a small number, well, the thing is, I keep getting hits, and it's like, this isn't even really sophisticated. You see some stuff that's pretty sophisticated, it looks like the real Amazon with real pictures, and my stuff isn't nearly that cool. But I've always been successful, so apparently I was wrong. Social engineering does work. Well, let's say it doesn't. Let's pretend that in your environment, no one would ever click on a link in an email, ever. Would they click on a link in a text message? Well, it's text. How can text possibly hurt me? You know, I have to admit, I may get more social engineering text messages than most people because I publish my numbers online in my talks, but if it's early enough in the morning and somebody's giving me enough money at Best Buy, I'll click on it, you know, you roll over and go, oh, Best Buy gift card, ding. So, you know, I've done it. These things are happening, and I think it's going to be really interesting. I think the future of, like, phishing attacks is going to move off of email and move into mobile devices via SMS because, well, spam filtering is pretty good. I spend a lot of my time trying to get past spam filtering with my stupid attacks. But with the text messages, unless I specifically block a certain number, it's going to get through. So I can pretty much guarantee to my spam bot master who's paying me like 10 cents a message that it is going to get to that individual. There are things, of course, where you can specifically whitelist numbers and only allow certain people to text message you, but that's never going to take off. And I can tell you why. This one specific scenario. Go out to the bar, you meet somebody, you hit it off, they text message you the next day, but you didn't exchange numbers, you never get the message, and you never marry the girl of your dreams. So, whitelisting is never going to happen. I thought it was funny, apparently you guys don't. Whatever. Downloading apps. I actually got some text messages from one of my carriers, not going to say which one, I have many carriers up here because I like to test all of them. But one of my carriers sent me some messages that said, as a premium handset subscriber, you have the ability to download the security app that we made. Whether that security app really did anything to improve security is another question for another day. But I click on the link in this text message, it sends me not to Google Play or the iPhone store, but instead sends me to App Store at company.com, has a nice little banner at the top, and has this app I can download. Well, I can do that. SPF does that. I can make whatever I want for a third-party app store. So if our users are getting used to seeing this from their carriers and that this is the correct thing to do, or maybe from the company itself, so we send out text messages to everybody in the organization. Please download our new VPN app. If you don't download this, you will get kicked off and you will not be able to access your email anymore. Who's going to download that? Everybody. But that could be me. So chances are your users are actually going to do this. And then my own personal favorites. Jailbreaking. So I saw a pretty good quote about the jailbreakers. It was from the Pony Awards. They said, we love the jailbreakers because they make it so that people won't update their software. They stay on the lower version of iOS until a new jailbreak comes out. They're telling anonymous people on the internet they can please exploit this device for me. So it's really kind of a scary scenario. And you see how many people are actually jailbreaking compared to like how many hackers there are. Just look at Twitter. So I think I'm cool because I have like 3,800 Twitter followers. Oh, I'm awesome. All the jailbreakers I know have like hundreds of thousands of Twitter followers. They're like real internet celebrities. That's how many people care about jailbreaking. The people are doing this. You really want to have some fun? Go sit outside your supermarket and do one of those like polls about life. You know, you see people doing this. But my poll is about jailbreaking. Do you jailbreak your device? Why do you jailbreak it? What are your needs for jailbreak software? You get a lot of laughs and people looking at you funny. But the number of people who in fact have jailbroken their device and really don't have a good reason for it, just to like show off to their friends, is rather alarming, I think. So our smartphones can be jailbroken, or with these guys we call it rooting. So we can do this. It seems like every time they put out a new version, it's jailbroken almost right away. So people will update to iOS 6, but then they'll immediately jailbreak it. So I go to Google and I say, okay, I have an iPhone 4S and this is iOS 6 and I would like to jailbreak it. Enter. Well, how do we know what results are coming up? How do we know that this is if there can be a good jailbreak, a jailbreak that all it does is jailbreak the device, install Cydia, and then go away, versus jailbreak device, install Cydia, add you to botnet, steal all your data, all that stuff. There's really nothing to say whether the jailbreak is doing something else. You're specifically asking an anonymous entity on the internet to become root on your device. That never seems like a good idea to me. But you probably have jailbroken devices in your environment. Mobile device management solutions say they can stop jailbreaking, but I've never seen one do a very good job. For instance, somebody raised their hand in one of my talks and said, all I had to do to get around the jailbreaking requirement things is change the SU binary to SU1, and then it didn't see me anymore. Wow, that's excellent. So, we have to wonder if we don't already, when it walks in, have a device that's already a member of a botnet, they don't even have to do anything, just because they jailbroke it. That's all pretty doomy and gloomy, huh? Nobody wants a mobile device now. Well, of course they do. Look at all these things. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, this one doesn't have a modem, but it's still Android. You know, and these are just some of my phones. I have even more. I'm obsessed. Love these things. And so does everybody else. Now that you're going to wear your phone on your head with the Google Glass thing. Seriously, we're going to have them embedded in our hands in 5 years. You wait and see. Now, this is the future. Your car is going to be an Android. Your TV is going to be an iPhone. And your microwave is going to be Windows Mobile. Something along that lines. I really do think everything's going to have a mobile modem. We're going to get rid of the internet altogether, and it's just going to be towers out there. And it's going to be an interesting place, I think. At least for people like me. So, once I get on the device, or somebody else gets on the device, you know, we've got our traditional command Shelly way of doing things. So, type things into a little command prompt, you know, the guy in the basement with the dark screen, typing little commands and magic things happen. I think more interesting stuff is to actually go through the application layer and start messing with your application calls and, you know, gather local information, do local privilege escalation, because no one's ever seen a malicious app try and jailbreak the device before. That's never happened. Droid Dream, for instance. Remotely control, or what was that one that Charlie Miller did, InstaStock, that actually got on the official iPhone store. You know, the official iPhone store. There would never be a malicious app there, right? Apple does vetting of these things. Well, Charlie Miller's really smart, and I have, you know, in many talks before on camera, talked about how much I love Charlie Miller. I think he's the coolest person on the planet, but, you know, he's probably not the only person who can code well enough to get past Apple. Sorry to say. So, you know, these things happen. So we can do all sorts of nasty once we're on the device. So, question my clients ask me. You know, occasionally my clients Google me and they say, well, you do all this mobile stuff, so you're coming into Pentests, Georgia. What can you tell us about the mobile devices in our environment? So I was like, well, not really anything. And they're like, well, what about your competitors? What can they tell us about mobile devices in our environment? I'm like, well, they can't really tell you anything either. And so they're like, so you're telling me that there's really no way we can assess the security of our mobile devices in the environment? I'm like, yeah, that's pretty much what I'm saying. And I realized that was kind of a problem. So I decided I wanted to fix it. So, how do we actually assess the threat of the smartphones to the environment? Well, I wrote a little tool called the Smartphone Pentest Framework that I've talked about at length, and we'll look at it for the demos, but we're going to do some other stuff with it. We're actually going to start attacking the internal network with it. But what we can actually test for in SPF, we can look at remote vulnerabilities. We're actually going to do that today because I want to show you how I hooked it up to Metasploit. A lot of you were here in my Metasploit class yesterday, so we're going to look at Metasploit SPF today as well. Client-side vulnerabilities, so we can put up malicious websites and try and get people to browse to them. We can actually even do stuff over NFC, so these two guys here are NFC compatible, so assuming I can get it to work today, I just wrote this like last week, so you never know. I can actually, if I can get close enough, actually beam my attack straight to their device, or send it via SMS. But near-field communication is awesome, you know. Social engineering, so I can start sending text messages with malicious links in them, and all I have to do is basically click some stuff to make this work. And I can also start doing local vulnerabilities. If I can get on the device in some way, I can start exploiting known local vulnerabilities, trying to get root on the device. But the question I want to talk about today is if I can get on your device, if I can get on some device in your environment, what does that give me? You know, we're starting to see some really good security. Hackett and I did a test last year where it was really hard to get out. You know, a lot of your environments is kind of easy. You use Metasploit, Meterpreter, HTTP, or HTTPS. You can get through most firewalling technologies. We can get out to the internet because people have to use the internet, right? They gotta go look at their stock reading programs. They gotta look at Twitter. I mean, can't get very far in life without that. So most environments will at least let you out over 80 or 443. Might see some stuff that makes it a little bit harder, but most environments are still pretty easy. But let's say we're in an environment that makes it really hard to get data out. So I had a little thought about this, and I was like, all right, so we're in a completely locked down environment, no way to get data out, none whatsoever. Nothing gets out over the network. We have mobile devices. What if I send my shell out over SMS? Does that get past the firewall? Absolutely, and that's the last demo I'm going to do today, so I'm kind of sweating hoping it works, because that'll be really exciting. So it brings us back to this picture. So, mobile device, in any of the ways we talked about, gets hit by SPF. So, any vulnerability, client-side stuff, remote stuff, social engineering, just downloading an app, some way we get onto one of these devices. And then we start attacking the internal network. So, that's kind of scary. I think even scarier is if, you know, if we can't get out via HTTP even, if I can just send it out over this mobile modem, Data goes boom. All right. So I wanted to save a lot of time for demos because usually I just talk and talk and talk, and then I can only demo for like 10 minutes, and that's not very exciting. So today we're going to actually have lots of time to look at this. I'm going to pull the chair up so I can sit down. All right. So let's look at some SPF. So I'm going to start playing with emulators so you can see it on my screen, but the last thing I'm going to do, emulators don't do a very good job of like having real IP addresses and things, so I am going to switch it out at the end for the final demo and actually use the phones, but you guys can't see that very well. So we'll start with the emulators. Alright, so SPF currently only runs on Linux systems. I am working on having some Windows developers make a nice Windows product for us. But it does work on Kali Linux, so if you're switching from Kali to Backtrack, or if you have any other Ubuntu system, there's just installers in here. It's all open source on GitHub, so you can just do a git clone and pull it down. So, let's see, let's just start this up and start playing with it. Alright, so, it is written in Perl.
Was that?
I just wanted the lights, I can't see the screen very well. Thank you.
Yeah, that's better.
Oh, that's interesting. I actually moved framework.perl out of here. Where did it go? I was moving it to the GitHub today, and then apparently I moved it. That's exciting. That's the best demo failure ever. I actually removed it. Let's see. Name, framework.perl. How to fail your demos. Framework.perl. Awesome. Could this really be happening right now? Alright, so it won't let me copy. How am I going to move it over? I can do this. Watch. Open recent. Backtrack. I should have just copied. That's very strange. I broke my own framework. Give me like 5 seconds to fix this. Alright, so move framework.perl to here. Move it onto. Alright, so copy root desktop framework.perl to var www. Yes, the hardest part is getting your own stuff back to your own things. Alright. And I actually need to be on the bridge network. And do etsy init.d networking restart. 106. Alright, that I can fix. Alright, wget 192.168.20.106 framework.perl. Alright, it's back! Yay! That was way harder than it should have been. Now I actually have to make it executable again. Alright. Now we have framework.perl. Woo! Fixed it! Alright, so this is SPF. It looks a lot like the social engineering toolkit, I think. It's very much menu-based stuff. There's been requests to make it like scriptable, which I'm working on, but I work pretty slow because I don't have funding for it anymore. So, let's see. The first thing I want to do is, since we played with a lot of Metasploit yesterday, I want to show you that I actually integrated this with Metasploit so we can run all of the Metasploit modules. Well, there's 3 Metasploit modules for mobile devices right now. 2 of them are from iOS 1, so they're not very exciting. And the third one is to check for default password on iPhone. So again, not too terribly exciting, I suppose. But we can do this. So, let's try. Alright, so, number 8. Run iPhone Metasploit modules. Okay, so let's do the Cydia default SSH password. Number 1. Wants to know the IP address of the iPhone I'd like to attack. This is a network-based attack. So, let's see, what is my IP address? Apparently I don't have one. Attach. There. 103. Alright, 192.168.20.103. wait while we load the module tree. Who remembers what that is from yesterday? What's it doing in the background right now?
Everything.
Well, what tool did it call? Does anybody remember this from yesterday? Apparently no one else was listening.
CLI.
Yes, it's running the CLI. And it successfully logs in and we have a shell. Yay, how exciting. Shell found, yay. So we can just, what do you mean? LS not found. One LS will work. So then we can start talking to the iPhone, so we can use Metasploit. So if more Metasploit modules do suddenly appear, or maybe I write them, I don't know, we can use them straight from SPF. How exciting. I'm just going to exit out of that. I just wanted to show it because it excites me for some reason. So it just jumps us back into SPF. So let's actually look at some of those agent things. I like to make funny looking agents. So if I do a number 1 here, one of the things I can do is I can actually put a template into here, so any code that I have for an app, I can actually bring it into SPF and it'll automatically backdoor it for me. All I have to do is push a button. So I think that's really exciting. And it's got templates already in there as well, so I can generate an agent app number 2. And the ones that are in there by default are just a blank front end and this maps demo that Google made. So let's do the maps demo. So it'll look and feel like the regular app. It'll just have some extra functionality, you might say. So who's the phone number? Who's going to control this? So I'll say it is my emulator. What's the control key? So I basically want it such that only the device I say can attach to it, and it has to know the key. Key 1 is not good crypto. You should really do better. And where do I want it to check in via HTTP? You can have it do HTTP or SMS or both, and near-field communication tags throwing up are being worked on right now for supported devices, but by default it'll just do HTTP and SMS, and you can control it either way. Android Agent 1 works for me. So it'll change those parameters, and it's building the app with the Android SDK. So if you've ever had to set up any of this stuff, this makes it really nice that it just does it all for you. All you have to do is hit a button. So it built that for us, so now I can serve it. One of the things I think is great about SPF is that it allows me to hook up to mobile modems that I already have. I don't have to use some paid internet service to send messages. I can either plug in a USB modem with a SIM card in it, or I can just actually hook up via an app to my devices. So, I have to give it the correct IP address. What is the IP address of this guy anyways? 101. Okay. So I loaded up the smartphone Pentest framework app. Well, actually, let me regenerate it so you can see that. So let me do number 4, attached to a mobile modem, so I can generate the smartphone-based app as well. And so I can do an Android app or Android app with near-field communication. Not all of your devices are going to be NFC enabled, so you can make one that doesn't have NFC, and it only requires Android 1.6, so even any burner device like a G1 that you happen to have lying around, it'll still work. So you can use any modem you want, or if you want to do NFC stuff, you can generate the Android app with NFC, and that unfortunately does require Android 4.0 or above, because that's when Android Beam and all that happened. So let's just for this one do number 1. The agent I want to control is 15555215556, my other emulator. So this guy here, it's going to have the control key 1, and its web server is Android Agent 1. So that's going to be embedded straight into the app. They try and make it difficult to take SPF and steal it. So I don't know that it's necessarily impossible. Again, Kiki 1. James is here! My assistant finally made it. He drove all night. Alright. That makes me happy. Alright, so then if I hook up the device like via Android Debug Bridge, which we'll do that, I can actually have it installed that way, or I can just copy it to a web server. And so this is framework app without NFC, so that's number 2. Where do I want to put it? AIDE app, file name, app.apk works for me. And it's going to copy that over to my web server, which hopefully is running. Apache to start. It's already running. Awesome. Alright, so then I can come over to this guy and download it. It's going to replace this other guy. So I just download it. I think this stuff is exciting. If you guys don't, then that's cool too. .101 / what did I call it? AIDE app. I always forget these things. / app.apk. Go. Starting download. And it's going to replace the previous one since there was already one down there. And it does want some permissions because it is basically going to remotely control your device via SPF. So you do kind of have to take that into account. Installing, open, yay. So now we've got the Framework Android app. This is controlled by the Pentester. So where do we want it to check in? There's no reason we couldn't just like dump this all out on EC2 if we wanted to. 20.101. Path. App 1 works for me. I just try and do things that I can remember. And again, a key. I always use key 1. You can use any crypto key that you want. It would probably be good if I like put real crypto in here instead of just nonsensical keys like this. But there's nothing to stop you from doing so. Alright, so then these guys are basically going to three-way handshake with each other. Oops. So do number 4 and then attach to a smartphone-based app. You see number 1 is search for an attached modem. So if I had a USB modem, it actually just sends @ commands straight to the modem over the serial port. So the phone number is 5554. Did I type that right? Yes. Key 1 is the key. And app 1 spelled correctly. And then they're going to TCP handshake with each other basically. And now they're attached. So until we tell it to detach, we can now remotely control our device. So you do kind of have to realize that you're giving SPF the ability to remotely control your device. Alright, so now let's send over our app to our victim phone. So I'm going to do run a social engineering or client-side attack. So we have client-side attacks in the browser. We also have USSD stuff, so those things where it would dial a number and then remotely wipe your device and stuff. Those are in there as well. But let's just do direct download agent. I'm more interested in getting this on there so I can start attacking the internal network. So this is an Android. I'm going to put it agent where it's going to serve it in app.apk again. And delivery method, SMS or NFC. Let's do SMS. These emulators don't have NFC for one thing. Phone number to attack. Who do I want to send this to? Custom text, yes or no. I can change the text to whatever I like. I'll just say no and let it send it. So, sure enough, it sends a message and says the default text is this is a cool app and tells us please download this, which we naturally as users would do so. Where it does client-side attacks are more exciting, but we've seen that enough times. So, here's our app. We download it and install it. Open it up. It looks just like the original app. If you ever looked at the Maps demo that Google provides, it looks and feels just like the original app. It just has a backdoor in it now. Now we can attach to it. So I'm going to say attach the framework to a deployed agent at Android Agent 1 using the key 1. And this is the only time you have to wait around because we naturally would not control this device. This is some user's device, so we can't click a button and say handshake with me now. So it's just going to periodically check in. So it waits for the check-in. So we don't have it do it constantly because that's a little obvious. So you can change the numbers if you want. I think it checks in once every 30 seconds by default. I wrote it. I should know these things. Alright, hurry up. 1 minute is too long to wait. Let's tell jokes. Who knows a good joke? Nobody?
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Interrupting cow.
Interrupting
Move!
calendar. Come on. Alakazam.
I got a question.
Yeah?
Have you done anything with the Windows 8 app stuff?
I haven't yet. I don't have a Windows phone. As soon as someone donates
I
me
mean,
one.
just like on the computer period now, the Windows 8 is app based on
Yeah.
some stuff now.
I haven't done anything with that yet, but it's definitely like on the list. Alright, so it attached. Now I can send commands to the agent. There's only one agent in there, so I can do all sorts of nasty to it. What we're going to look at today is downloading a file, executing it, and uploading the results, and also stuff with the TCP listener. So first thing I want to do, I want to download a file. So I'm just going to drop a binary on there. Any application on the device has the ability to drop a binary if they want to. They all have a files directory. That's not a permission you have to ask for. So I can download a file if I like. So number 6, what file do I want to download? How about Nmap for Android? That works for me. So I always forget the path. Root, Nmap, 5.61, test 4, binary, Nmap. So I'm just going to drop the Nmap for Android binary on here. And again, that's just something you can do. AIDE Nmap. And let's just send it. You can deliver stuff via SMS or HTTP. Let's just do HTTP. It's nicer on emulators. And then I'm going to watch my logs so I can cheat. And then I want AB. Emulator. Alright, so it did download. That's exciting. I actually have to download one more file to make Nmap work. So I want to download root Nmap 5.61 test 4 /share /nmap /nmap services, because it needs a config file to actually run. AIDE Nmap and Nmap services. And let's do it over HTTP again. So it's going to download that second file, and then we're going to make it run Nmap against our internal network. How exciting. So I can just watch it go through in the logs. Come on. The emulator die. Now it's still there. There we go. Alright, it downloaded that. So now I'm going to tell it I want to execute a command. The command I want to run is nmap, and I want it to nmap one of my local systems. So this guy is who? 102. 192.168.20.102, and I'm going to tell it I want it to output the file to the file system into the directory of this guy, com.example.android.google.apis files directory. And I'll just call it AIDE map. And was this file downloaded? Was it a binary that was already there, or did I download it? I downloaded nmap, so I say yes. And then it's going to run that command for me, so it's going to nmap that other system and see what's running over there and save it to a file, which I can then upload into SPF. So even though I have no access to their internal network, since I have an exploited device, I can then start nmapping their internal network. That's always nice, right? I like to be able to see internal networks. Alright, looks like it is running, so it should finish pretty quickly. So I'm going to tell it I want it to upload a file, number 8, pull it over HTTP, and the file I want is data/data, whatever I called it. I forget these things. AIDE nmap. Okay, data/data, com.example.android.google.apis. That's just the path of the app files. AIDE nmap.nmap. So it's going to pull that file and bring it up to our SPF. And we can watch and see when that happens in our logs. This is how I debug things. Started upload. Alright, looks like it should have happened. So if I look in my database, hasn't come in yet. So it brought in the file, so I can see that it saved it to a text.txt file. So if I cd to root smartphone Pentest framework console, and cat out file or text.txt, there's all the open ports on that system. Yay, we just in-mapped the internal network through an exploited phone. Well, they've got FTP running, and we could do like version scanning and whatnot like we did yesterday if we wanted to, but I can tell you that War FTP is running on this guy. So I just wrote some C code for exploiting War FTP, pretty easy. You know, nobody would ever have internal stuff that's vulnerable, right? No hands. Nobody ever put anything vulnerable on their internal network ever. Okay, so what I want to do is exploit this, so I need to compile it so it'll run on Android. So just my straight GCC won't work. I need it to be an ARM compiler. So I have one of those in SPF. So if I do number 9, I want to compile some C code for ARM Android. So file I want, let's do root war FTP meterpreter. So it's just some C code I wrote, meterpreter, I can't spell today. And what do I want to call it? Let's just call it war FTP meterpreter. So it's going to make a binary for me that I can now drop on there and run. So we do the same things we've been doing. So let's do send commands to agent. That's the agent I want. File to download. I want root war FTP meterpreter. I guess I should probably start up a meterpreter listener to catch this guy while we're doing that. And AIDE war FTP meterpreter. So I'm just going to drop this file. So this is just some exploit code that's going to run on an ARM device. Hurry up, Metasploit. I'm running out of time here and I still want to do the shell. Alright, so use multi-handler. We learned all this yesterday. This is just Metasploit. Don't be slow. There. Set payload. Windows meterpreter. Reverse TCP. Set lhost. Spelled correctly. 192.168.20.101. Exploit. So now it's got a listener. So this is simulating sending it out over, you know, TCP. So this isn't very exciting, but we'll at least see how this works. So now I want to execute a command again. The command I want is war FTP meterpreter. The box I want to hit 192.168.20.102 on port 21. Did I download it? Yes. So now it's going to run that exploit, which is, since the phone is on the same network as the vulnerable box, we just got meterpreter through a phone. So we're still not anywhere near the internal network. We didn't come near it. That phone walked into the network and sent us that session back out.